strengths of what we've had so far in the rest of the tournament. So let's see in our game 2 here if that trend continues.
Yeah, exactly. A game has started. It's an offensive carousel to start us off here, which is something I always love. Everybody most likely gets what they're looking for as we go into the first couple of PvE rounds. And you were saying it, there has been strong tendencies from certain player, noting Huey Dewey Louie, who was on that Darkflight train, seeing that another player has gotten Darkflight from the augments, knowing that you want to have that Rengar 3, that you are trying to, have at least 2 Rengar 2s if you can't go for 3, and then abandoning that ship with the Lagoon start that they had. Unfortunately, didn't work out all the way this time around, so we're going to see what this game looks like tomorrow already on the double Malphite start here.
Yeah, because it's not even like they had some like random augments, some flexible augments, right, where you're like, oh, I've just hit a couple of Darkflight units and I'm thinking about going there. It was like, no, I am like putting the stamp down right now. The augment is Darkflight, it's Darkflight only. There is no other option for me now going forward in this game. And anyone else seeing that, I think, would have to be pretty brave to try and contest that.
Oh yeah, for sure. We are just getting word from our lovely observers that this game is going to be a rerun of what we just saw. It's Mage Nomsy and Executioner's Mirage, once again, same as game number 1. So with that Mirage Deja doing so well in game number 1, where it was also Executioners, this might be very, very interesting to players now.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see Mage Nomsy get picked up last game, did we? So, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of, you know what, don't worry about that. Prismatic Augments.
Mirage Crown looking mighty fine.
I mean, there's, look, a lot of interesting options here with Mirage being Executioners. Who are we looking at here? Tamura. Okay, so not our guild Deja player, who is of course Aurora. I could have seen him possibly picking that up.
Woodland Charm
is great if you're going to go for a Lagoon Mage kind of option, but yeah, I feel like Woodland Charm was that one. Okay, we've got the scoped weapons as well. For anyone who hasn't been following along for the last couple of days, so far this has got a first and a second. That's how good that one augment is. Basically, you go for Yone 2, you build a Gwinsu's Rage Blade on him straight away. And honestly, I think we've even seen someone like carry with Yone 1 and scoped weapons 2 into stage 3 and stage 4 and still be streaking on 100 health.
Okay, I need to quote something because we just heard our lovely analysts in our green room commentate on that scoped weapons pickup, and Ducky has all the facts for you. He's saying Huey has won the video game. So I think that's a very good and straight up fact that we will take into this game for consideration. But we also have seen scope weapons take second. It is a super strong augment that cannot be overstated. But it's not an auto win in a prismatic lobby because there's other very strong boards that you can build and can get away with.
Yeah, and I swear Chaos said it was an auto win and then backtracked when we saw it come second yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
to say that it's a guaranteed top 2, but at the very least, it's incredibly strong. We're seeing Lucky Gloves here. Of course, that gifts you one Lucky Glove, which is, Thieves Gloves, which becomes a Lucky Glove, I suppose, which is started off on the Skarner, and he does have another glove to play with, so that's a good start. The last time we saw someone take this, they didn't actually end up getting too many gloves, so they didn't kind of like max out the usefulness of this. Ducky's coming in again, super fast on the info here. Apparently, it was fire in my lungs. Of course, my memory never really helping me out with this stuff at all. And he went 6 with it, and I think that was largely because he just didn't hit enough sparring gloves, right? Because you almost wish you just only had sparring gloves, and then you get 2 items per 2 components you have, which is a pretty good deal, frankly.
It is a pretty good deal. Has also been picked up by Fred here, who is on that Astral Olaf for now. Another Astral player here, Kade. Both will be getting a little bit of extra gold in those early stages. And Kade, of course, also on that golden ticket, which I always think is very interesting.
I agreed, especially when you're looking at how he's starting off this game. He's going Astral. Does this mean it's the Astral reroll angle? I think the other thing we've got to think there is that it's Mage Nomzi as well, right, Max? So, maybe you start off with the Astral, start pumping up your economy that way, and then you transition it into the, the sort of the 7 Mage Nomzi kind of composition.
Yeah. I think even if your end goal is to go with all Astrals and Azor, having the Mage Nomzi just for the mid game will be really, really beneficial as you are stacking up those Astral stars and getting towards that final Astral. And that's definitely a very good angle for Kade here to try and hold up in this prismatic lobby. So we're gonna wait and see what happens with that. There is one pick that is a little bit interesting to me, and it's Colorful, because Colorful has picked up the Cannoneer crown, and we don't see that a lot.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well, actually, because it's, Cannoneer had a couple of patches at the start of 7.5 where it was extremely strong. Felios was extremely strong. People were just working out that Zeke's and Darkflight was an amazing combo. You also saw it, you could put a Cannoneer crest on Rengar and make that work a little bit, and Cannoneer Nomzi with 6 Cannoneers was also quite strong. But all of those options, every single one I just mentioned, I think has actually gone down in effectiveness quite significantly since then, and it leaves you to wonder, okay, Colorful, you're probably going to be uncontested for whatever you're going for here, because I'm not sure what it is, because, as I said, Cannoneer comps have kind of been out of the meta for a little while now. Yeah, please.
So the thing is, right, with the Cannoneer crown, you do not only get the Cannoneer emblem, of course, but you also get the Giant Slayer. And since there's also been an IE slammed from Colorful, this Cannoneer emblem most likely is going to be turned into Darkflight Essence. I think that's the angle that Colorful is going for in the long run. So just having that Cannoneer emblem, slamming it, getting Darkflight Essence, and using the item they got from that augment choice is going to be, I think, the road that we're taking up here.
Yeah, I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head there. As soon as you said it, I was like, that makes perfect sense. All the puzzle pieces falling into place. And yeah, we have seen that across the weekend, right? Like every now and then someone just picks up a weird emblem, and you're just like, oh, that kind of, what's going on here? And then, yeah, inevitably, I feel like it does kind of fall into Darklight Essence. And as you say, the items are kind of getting there as well. We're seeing another one of the organs we haven't talked about as much, and that was Cybernetic Uplink 3, with an early Nomzi as well. I can see that being kind of cool, but a couple of people sort of angling towards that with the Astrals and the Nomzis and whatnot could be a little bit contested here, actually.
Could be. We're gonna see where that one goes. I just need to note one more thing that our production and co-casters just came through with. The Shimmer Scale item this game is going to be the Draven's Axe, as Percy has picked up an Idas. We just found that one. So that is also interesting, right? Of course, Shimmer Scale being not necessarily a chase trait unless you can actually unlock specific emblems, but with the level up and Shimmer Scale Idas in this early round, that should be pretty good in getting some extra golden and stabilizing.
Yeah, and you can see Percy's just trying to, make his board as weak as possible, so that we do get as many stacks on the Draven's Axe here. Of course, PvE rounds, you got to try and work out however you can to try and, maximize that for yourself. And that was perfect, right? Almost all 3 Krugs had all their health down and then get reset every single time. So that was actually a beautiful placement by Percy Jackson. I don't know. It's just it's one of the things that I like nerd out a little bit on TFT is absolutely gaming the PvE rounds to the nth degree.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. Another thing really, really nice is for you guys, you can get an egg from us if you type !egg into chat. The giveaway is live right now. Don't sleep on it. Be quick. It's not going to be open for long, so hop on in while you can. Here's the Astral board. Just hit that Vladimir 3. Really good. If you're playing Astral and you're finding a 3-star that early on, that just gives you bench space. And looking at Kade's board, you need it, right? So very, very good to have that here right now.
Oh.
And you can see it has to sell something, but here's another 3-star coming through. Has rolled down all the way. That 3-1 roll down for the Astrals is, you know, something we're very familiar with, but also has hit some units here, so that's pretty good for Kade.
Yeah, but rolling to 0, man, that is a commitment and a half. I mean, yes, you know, you want to make the most of those level 4 odds where you're still getting 55% on your 1-cost units. I feel like you don't usually see people roll down to 0, though, right? That is a big hit for your economy, and sure, they're going to be rolling out of this with a 3-star Skana and a 3-star Nidalee and a 3-star Vlad. So that's all of your 1-costs hit, and means you kind of can move towards level 6 and then start worrying about your Luxes and your Varuses after that. Even got the Silas there, which will be great once they can just roll up into level 6 and slot that straight in for the 3 mage buff. But yeah, wow, that's a pretty massive commitment, especially considering they have golden ticket.
Yeah, but they also have Astral, right? And with now 3 stars of Astral, you will be able to get some extra gold back. It's not going to be as easy with going down to 0, but it will be helpful in trying to get that economy growing and back up. So that's really good to see for Kade. We're going to keep an eye on how that one goes. And we're just checking in with where Colorful is right now, and it looks like that's a Jade Cannoneer board for now. Has found a Siphon, notably. Or is that actually not his Siphon? I think it's Tamura's Siphon.
Yep, little...
yeah, it's Tamura's Siphon. Couldn't be
Yeah.
Colorful's because of the traits. So
Yeah,
has not found a Siphon, but is on that Jade angle for now. I'm not convinced that that's where it's going to stay. I think Colorful is still looking to turn this into Darkflight if it's possible, but for now, a way to stabilize for sure.
Yes, we aren't seeing many of those Darkflight units available. As you can see, there's one Aphelios on the bench, but if that was the play, you know, it's quite some time away before they can really get that online. Unlike, of course, this Draven's Axe, where we can see we are 1 stack away from popping out the gold and the components that come with that. There's the shower, grabs a Sparring Gloves, as well as, I think it's like 8 gold or something that you get from popping that, which is quite nice. As we saw, Determined Investor was the 2nd Shimmer Scale item, now that they have hit that 2nd break point, so potentially looking to max out these Shimmer Scale things, and, you know, like... Okay, after that loss, he's down to 58. But, you know, we're at 3-3. I feel like he hasn't bled too much, considering the value he's getting out of those Shimmer Scale items.
Yeah, I agree. I think with these 2 Shimmer Scale items being as they are, you're really lucky as well. Just trying to have those great items on there. And there is a spat in this carousel. I'm curious if someone is going to pick it up and do something with it here. Colorful just beelining for that rod for now. And yeah, it doesn't look as if the spat is as interesting to players here.
Yeah, wow, it's a lot. It's going last pick. Man, okay. It doesn't get picked at all. Okay, that is incredible.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, man, that's
spatula standing.
She's feeling very unpopular right now, which, you know, for a performer like her must be quite galling.
So we just asked our observers how many stars Kade currently has, because we were talking about the economy aspect of rolling fully down on 3-1. And currently there are 13 stars on Kade's board. Of course, still looking to find more and more in those stages right now. But with an Astral Star level of 13, you have around about 60% chances to get 6 or 7 gold per round. So that's just printing you money straight up. Going to be really, really good for Kade. And as we can see right now, most of that is getting reinvested into those Astrals.
Yeah, you're also, you're getting that's a lot of gold per round, right? And also, like, you've got a 45% chance of getting either an item component or a full item. So you can see that's going to start, being able to stack up on these guys. Usually, I'd say, Vladimir isn't. Well, actually, no. If you get Vladimir up to 3 stars very early, he can actually carry you quite a way if you can chuck, say Archangels, Gargoyles, that kind of stuff on him. But yeah, you can really start slamming items because you're going to get so many printed throughout the game that you don't have to greed them. You really can be, quite forceful in just throwing them onto your units.
Yeah, and we hopped on over to Tamura, who we checked in when the Prismatics first came around. Currently on fire, 7 win streak with the 4 Whisper, 3 Bruiser. Would like to get that to 4, but just look at what that Woodland does. Going to be really nice. Have that additional unit in there and just tanking extra damage into everything. Hopefully can do something against Fred here. Fred with that mage board is currently leading the lobby, so gonna be very hard, but in the backline the looks will be taken out, and yeah, I'm not sure this one goes Tamura's way for now.
Yeah, surprising. The Siphon is a good option to have that Woodland Charm on. Whispers, I really liked playing that, when it was a vertical and you could get Woodland Charm on it. These days, you're probably more looking for that Siphon, perhaps even the full Dragon board when you get there. Other Dragon options that could come out with it, Deja probably not as good, right? Zippy, there
we go. Yeah. Come on!
Finally!
I feel like I spoke that one into existence. This is exactly what we wanted to see from Colorful, and we are getting word that everything that you're seeing right now, because last time we saw Colorful, this was a Jade board, so the Aphelios, the Rengar 2, some more Aphelioses and Graves have been picked up within 20 gold. Another Aphelios coming through here right now. There's a Rel in store getting picked up as well. So this board is just hitting at the moment.
Look at that. He's going to have 5 Darkflight Essences coming out. This is actually pretty incredible. Slamming a couple of those items on the Aphelios as well. At least you don't have to be quite as thoughtful about your positioning with Darkflight Essence, unlike when you got the the Zeke's Heralds or even a Locket of the Solari coming through, because you don't have to worry about that splashing the effects onto all of your other characters.
Yep. But we are meeting Obu, and Obu with that Cybernetic uplink and a Shojin on that Numsy 2 that they just hit is a little bit of a challenge. Not going to be challenging enough for what Frosty likes to call the stabby tabby. So these Murder Mittens are just jumping around, annihilating what's in their path, and that's going to be a win for Colorful. Just turning around that loss streak that has been going on at the start. But looking at the right side of the screen as we go into our golden augments, I'm starting to get a little bit worried for Huey, Dewey, Louie, who's on 28 HP now.
Yeah, very, very low. We've seen a couple of players go out before that Treasure Dragon has come up in this tournament, Makes. And, it's not surprising when these players have just been rolling at such a frenetic pace, right? They've really been trying very hard to sort of, up the tempo to almost unsustainable levels sometimes. And we're seeing Pandora's Bench over here, just rolling for some things. Finally getting some upgrades here.
Everything.
Scale
he was on
Yone.
1 stars for all of this entire early game. 4-2 starting to get some upgrades here. Finding the Yone 2, you said it, Scale Scorn emblem as well. And this should be the turning point. We talked about those scoped weapons. They're so strong, but Huey, Dewey, Louie hasn't been able to transfer that into board strength. All of that is going to change now. The Yone has gone to training. He is now leveled up, and he's going to dish out loads and loads of damage.
Yeah, well, I think it's really the OLAP that we've got to look at here, right? Because I think, you know, the other boards we've seen with scoped weapons too, they have tended to hit the Yones earlier and hit that Gwinsu's Rage Blade on them earlier, but Olaf realistically is probably the better carry. It's just that, you know, people want to guarantee that win streak and get that going a little bit earlier. Obviously, that is not what happened for Huey, Dewey, Louie in this game, struggling early on. As a result, you know, he's had to try something a little bit different, but I think this could potentially work out better in the long run, Makes.
I'm actually intrigued if that losing streak was a little bit of intentional early on, with the Olaf just getting those extra AD stacks, but from the positioning, I don't think it was, because the Olaf was at the very back corner with those good weapons not necessarily being in harm's way. So we're going to find out just coming in from our observers. It's currently on 32 extra AD from those stacks. 4-3, nothing to shame on, right? Solid stacks for a scoped weapons board for sure, so we'll do some additional damage as well. We are seeing Percy Jackson on that swift shot angle that they've been playing all of this tournament. Currently 4, not necessarily where you want to be with the board, as we are on a 3-loss streak and little HP overall.
Yeah, and looking at this is a very interesting way to play this board, right? And I feel like what we're getting from Percy Jackson here as we go into this carousel is just a look into the one trick, right? Like someone who knows this board back and forth, because they're not necessarily playing it, you know, in the typical way you might see.
He found a Zaya with a bow. I'm sorry to know, but that
what
is
a
the
crazy
biggest
pickup.
thing Percy Jackson could have found in any carousel.
Oh, it's nuts. It's just, that's going to be incredibly helpful. But yeah, like, you know, it's the rest of the board is going to be, you know, a little bit different to what we're used to seeing. And you can see he already had the one Zaya, and he's got the champ duplicator as well. I guess the question here Makes is, like, does he want to keep the Draven's axe? Obviously, it's a little bit weird when you've got that extra bow on the Zaya. I guess you could pop it off if you use a champ duplicator, but he's got 70 gold as well.
Switch it around.
Yeah, there's a lot of options here.
I mean, the interesting thing we have to talk about with Percy is that Shyvana on the bench, right? Like, when are you slotting that in? Currently still holding on to those 5 Shimmer Scale to try and make something, just with Idas being very, very tanky and no other frontline existing. But he needs to do something soon enough. So that Zaya alone will probably not be able to carry him all the way.
No, it won't. And he's got the, you know, he's got the Zippy there as well. So Zippy Shyvana obviously is pretty good, but it does feel like he's really just trying to, you know, get the most out of this Idas, considering he did have to pick up Shimmer Scale Crest as well. And that's going to be helping him out towards the end. He's got level up, which means, you know, it's not too hard for him to get up to level 9. Exactly. And that gives him even further options.
Okay, he needs to do something, right? We're in agreement for that. 15 HP, round 4-6. You're probably not going to survive if you take another loss going into this. But Percy Jackson seems to be reluctant to do that. Does not want to give us the rear range of units, does not want to go there, will stay on the board that they're currently running and just hold that Shyvana on bench with the gold that they currently have. I mean, probably thinking about those Draven's axe stacks, but this is shocking.
Percy, you're on 15 health, mate. You've got a couple of 1-star dragons. Your Zaya has just been assassinated like the...
Oh my god, man. The bear is surviving.
It was like 2 shots it took the Rengar to take that guy down. Somehow this Idas is tanking it out. And oh man, the Varus is so close, but... Wow, 2 health. Okay. I mean, I honestly felt like Percy Jackson should have been punished there, because like sitting with a Shyvana on his bench, a champ duplicator, all the rest of it, just getting to Treasure Dragon on 2 health. That is one of the greediest plays I've seen in a long time.
Okay. Hear me out. Huey, Dewey, Louie just hit that Yone 3 on the scope weapons prismatic. So we need to note that. But Percy just completely disrespecting, and I have to say that, the rest of the competition here with not acting until the treasure dragon rolls around to get that level 9 and now do a full roll down. That is crazy. He's just hitting left and right, finds a Bart, finds a Jace, is on 2 Shyvanas.
He's gonna get the Shiv too.
I mean, champion duplicator on the board can just switch it out whenever he feels like. He's noting that as well and is going to reposition now as the planning stage commences.
Okay, so he's going to keep this Idas 2 here as his front line, switching that out for the Zippy. So it's an interesting tech to where you usually see Guild Xayah end up. We're not really leaning into the Guild all that much here, just putting in the Sejuani and the Twitch. But the fact that he's got Idas 2 with Diamond Hands, he's got a very well itemized Shyvana too after using that champion duplicator, and then this Xayah on the back line is just going to be doing so much damage. It doesn't matter that the opposing team has that Pantheon with the Spirit Visage, it's just not going to be enough. How far can Percy Jackson go with 2 HP is the real question.
Yeah, right. You have to think about that. There are some very, very potent boards in this lobby that you need to be on the lookout for. And like you're saying, Percy Jackson managing to turn this around, managing to pull the pivot off with going into level 9 that late, and then just magically hitting everything that he needed. It could come to a full stop if he meets a board that's just currently more maxed out than his. And I'm very worried for that. Another thing that's worrying is that he's not the only player who's currently on single digits. Obu now also down to 9 HP, could get knocked out here as he meets with Percy Jackson. We will have an 8th after this round.
Yeah, obviously, you know, compared to the other Astral player that we saw having a little bit of trouble, these items are sus. We've got a single Death's Dance there on the Lux, the Nomsy, sure, your carriers are itemized, but the rest of the board is not looking very good. And compared to Percy Jackson, of course, who just hit everything he could possibly want, that's going to see Obo going out at the bottom of the table.
I mean, I think Percy got away with it. Honestly, like that one, he just got away with it, and we are going to note it. But here is the Yoni 3, and you can see Huey, Dewey, Louie is aiming for that. Olaf 3 as well is looking to find some extra units, currently stacking up some Pantheons. The Pandora's bench trying to help out as much as possible, as there are some upgraded 2 costs in there waiting to be transformed into an Olaf, possibly, with that board here. And a 6-win streak, nothing that's too surprising with that Scope Weapons Prismatic. We talked about it a lot. He was on a losing streak in the earlier rounds, and ever since finding that Olaf 2, finding that Yoni 2, now Yoni 3, he's been win streaking, Pat.
He's been doing pretty damn well. We've seen the Dark Flight into Scope Weapons matchup before. It generally goes the Scoped Weapons way. But that said, the front line for this Scoped Weapons composition is just not that great this time. And the big boy Swain is too tanky. And that means Huey, Dewey, Louie is going to be down to 15 HP. A couple of the other guys up the top there also taking losses, so potentially a bit of gold left in the bank for them to try and resupply, try and make their comps just that little bit stronger. Looking up the top there, we had Fred on 20. He picked up Band of Thieves. I don't think we've been on him for a while, but he got Band of Thieves as his second augment, which means, you know, he's really trying to max out how many of those lucky gloves he can grab.
Right, I think the last time we saw Fred's board, it was like 3 or 4 gloves. Like, there was a lot going on there with those lucky gloves. And yeah, Huey, Dewey, Louie is just pressing D at this point. Rakan 3 being hit. Aurora also just Duck is sneaking through, and I think that is the right term. This lobby is so close. Tamora currently second place, 22 HP, and then all the way down to 7th, Percy with 2. That's not a lot of difference in HP in this entire lobby scaling, except for Aurora, who has that little extra cushion. So definitely having a good time here. Percy just casually hitting level 10, while Huey, Dewey, Louie finds yet another 3-star.
All right, so we're seeing the Cheese Shroud there. Chucks it on the Silas at the last moment to try and grab Swain and the others in the middle of this bench. The Lux in the background is doing some good damage, while Zoe unfortunately cannot survive the Rengar's assault. This Swain so tanky with those couple of items. The Dark Flight Essence making him stronger and stronger as this round goes on. Lux just grabs a cast, but it's not long enough. Even with the Sunfire Cape, applying the heal cut to the Swain for that entire fight. Colorful, still too strong for Kane.
I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but we have 4 players on single digits. And while we were watching that Kade board, they just all hopped onto the board with him and were waiting to see if yet another one would join their ranks. And we are currently on Fred's board. This is the Lucky Gloves board. I count 3 for now, and then a fully itemized Deja, fully itemized Shyvana. But of course, both of these dragons are 1-star. So what they're putting out might just not be enough against what Colorful has in store for them.
Yeah, and they're not like the most amazing augments either, right? We've got Thrill of the Hunt 2 here. But as you say, at least he's got 3 full items on both of the carries, and then the Lucky Gloves are just providing a bit of help to the rest of his team. Is it enough help? It doesn't look like it. Morello's on both sides are kind of helping, but damn, Swain just heals so much. It feels like he's getting heal cut in all of these fights, and it's still never quite enough.
Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Fred both getting knocked out, and I do want to say Huey is, you know, he was on Scope Weapons Prismatic. He was on a lot of 3-stars, notably a Yone 3 with a Scaled Scorn emblem. I'm not sure if you found that Olaf in the end that he was looking for, but going 7th with Scoped Prismatic? What is this lobby? What is going on? We need Chaos to explain how that one worked out. I don't know. Hopefully our analysts can pull that one out and drizzle it up for us. But here is an Azul 2 found by Kade, who is slowly but surely finding all of these Astrals and looking mighty fine in board strength.
Yeah, I mean, the way I read that one, Makes, was just that he had a very rough start, right? I mean, he basically took the augment, I think, just sort of seeing it as a bit of a free win, but you really do need those other components as well. And like we saw yesterday, it was a very early Yone combined with a very early Guinsus. He slammed the Guinsus on 2-1, and that's what started getting him enough gold and power to keep rolling through and having enough gold to sort of stay ahead of the lobby. What the hell is that shot? 4 Psalms. All right, not that it's going to help. It's just fun to see.
Has had a Bard on the board for some time, I think. Oh no, it's just the level 10, right? But he did hit a Bard early on, just didn't place it. Is currently looking for the Zaya 3, 2 copies off, did not manage to grasp it, but will try to get a win in against Aurora and decimate that extra HP cushion that Aurora has built. It will work out here. The 5 Shimmer Scale, 5 Rage Wing, 3 Swift Trot Bard is coming in clutch for Percy Jackson here as more and more players are getting eliminated here. We are down to top 4. Kade managing to find a win as well.
Yeah, look at that. He's 2 of Zaya 3 as well, and at level 10, he's getting 40% chances there to hit those level to hit the level 4 cost units.
Just not showing up.
No, I mean, obviously there's a lot out of the pool already when you're that close to hitting your 3-star. Percy Jackson, man, this is like an unreal level of you know, just making it work at exactly the time you need. Instead of like the calculated loss, this is like the absolute calculated running it down to you know, the last possible second. He's was so close to going out in 8th, and now has managed to top 4. He's streaking. He's got 6 wins. This is looking really
Look
good
at
for
the
Percy.
damage from that Zaya, just smashing to the Zephyrs. Came in clutch as they lifted up the Siphon and managed to buy some time for that Zaya to actually get her damage out. Percy Jackson persisting in this lobby after what we thought was just hanging on by a mere thread on 2 HP. 2 more players getting knocked out here, Kade and Tamura, and we are down to our top 2, Aurora and Percy. And Percy has been on that 7-win streak.
Okay, I saw another Zyre in the shop, and then I realized it looks like he sold all of the other ones off, right? He knows it's the last fight, so he was just looking for whatever upgrade he could get, which of course was, you know, the Jace 2, which he did find in the end. So he'll be that little bit stronger for our last fight, makes. Here we go. Aurora versus Percy Jackson. Can he bring it back from the brink of death? The Swift Shot Hecarim will start it off, celebrating with another Draven's Axe proc here. Zyre providing the CC in this Deja with only 2 items in the background is not going to be enough for the Ragewing board. Percy Jackson take a bow. That was a movie finish to go with his name if I have ever seen one.
Percy, I mean, how much more